Vickrum Digwa inside of HMP Frankland, and what is happening with him now? Now I have been given some information about Vickrum Digwa. And we all know, because I've done a video previously stating that he's in the segregation unit inside of HMP Frankland, which is a high security nick in the northeast of England. And as the video I put on previously about him, he is absolutely petrified. Yes, he's going on to the bacon wings eventually, but he is in segregation because when he landed in Frankland prison, they wanted to put him on A wing, the same wing that Ian Huntley was deceased on, or became deceased. He was on that wing thinking that he was protected. So they said to Vickrum Digwa that he was going onto that wing, but he said, I'm not. There's no chance I'm going on there because I heard a high-profile prisoner was murdered. And Vickrum Digwa has become known, or has become a high-profile prisoner. So now that his mother has just been sentenced to 3 years last week, he is now in an even worse state and has been put on an act. Now an act, I'll just get it up here. Everyone who's been to prison, but I've spoke about it on here previously, I'll just tell you exactly what an act is. So it stands for Assessment, Care in Custody and Teamwork. Is the official individualised care planning and monitoring system used in UK prisons to support inmates identified as being at risk of or self-harm. It is a formalised framework for what the public and media commonly refer to as suicide watch. I'll have to be careful saying that word because it flags up. So that's why I said it with a quick, you heard it. But anyways, he's been placed on an act inside the segregation unit. But because he put himself down the block, he said to the screws, he refused to go on the wing. And when I'd done this video previously talking about this, some of the comments and some people were saying, well, you can't pick and choose, you go wherever they put you. You can refuse, and he did refuse, but he's refused a prison rule. The the staff, the governors, whoever has authorised it and said he's going on that wing, he's saying, no, I'm not. So then they say, right, if you don't, you're getting nicked and we're taking you down the block. Then you got to go up in front of the governor the next day for, it's what we call in jail as a nicking. And he gets put up in front of the governor. So he's refused. If you refuse, you get nicked. You get put down in front of the governor and you've got to explain yourself. And then obviously he's being kept down there as a punishment because he's refusing. So now that he's down there shitting himself because of what might happen to him when he goes on the wings, then his mother has been sentenced to 3 years inside of prison. I've done it last week and I think it was exactly, yes, 3 years inside of prison for assisting an offender. She had taken the murder weapon what Digwa had used on poor Henry Novak. So once his mother has been sentenced, he's in even more of a fucking sorry state, crying in his pad because he's got nobody and no one to phone. Because he's on basic regime in the block, he gets £2.50 per week, which obviously he's going to spend on phone credit, and phone credit in prison doesn't go a very long way. So when he's not being able to speak to his family, and he was a mammy's boy, still living at home with his mother, got all of his meals cooked, still being treated like a teenager, and still going out and acting like a fucking teenager. But hey, what age is he? 23-year-old from Southampton killed 18-year-old Henry Novak. And that case became high profile, not just because of the murder, because of the copper. That copper, and someone else tried to say in one of the videos that I'd done, saying that's not what he said. It is what he said. Poor Henry was saying, I can't breathe. I've been stabbed. Well, the copper say, I don't think so, mate. So that is what made that case so high profile. And Digwa, let us get a picture of him here, because this is obviously his mug shot. 2 seconds. We all know what it is. I'll put it on the thumbnail as well. This is his mug shot in the police station. Does that look terrified? Do those eyes look terrified? Absolutely. And guess what? That is his karma for what he done to poor Henry. Because imagine what poor Henry's eyes were like when that wrong'un was doing that to him. But because of his mother getting that sentence, he's to blame. He's now got all that time to think. He's not on a normal wing. He's not even on a bacon wing, where he could probably get out of his pad a lot more, make some friends, speak with people. But now he's by himself. He's only got his own thoughts to think about what he done wrong and think about the position that he put his mother in. Obviously, he said to his mum, take that. His mother's done it because the mother instinct to protect that child will probably has thought, right, I'm not doing no wrong. And that's why when I've done the video, what will happen to Kiran Kaur, his mother, inside of prison. And I spoke with a lass who'd been in Bronzefield, and she said she won't get much hassle because of what she's in for, because she was protecting her son. So he put her in that position. So now, all the guilt and all the hours of every day by himself, blubbering like a fucking big baby in the block. So he's been put on an act because they think he might try and harm himself. Even though when you're down the block, there's not many places you could do that to yourself, but you definitely could. But he's not on 2 seconds because he's on what you call regular checks down the block. Because there is constant supervision. I've been informed that he's on the regular checks to make sure he's okay. Constant supervision is when a screw is outside the door 24/7 and there's visual contact. Sometimes it's when they've got the glass perspex cell, a screw sitting there 24/7 to make sure that the inmate doesn't do away with himself. Like the absolute wrong and monster Jimmy Varley inside of HMP Wakefield. He's on constant supervision. But Vickrum Digwa is on regular checks every 15 to 30 minutes to make sure that he's still alive and kicking. Not really kicking, but alive and breathing. But like I say, he's got all that time to think about what he'd done wrong and putting his mother in that situation, and she's serving time because of him. But the reason, like I've said, even though it was poor 18-year-old Henry Novak, innocent boy, university lad, upstanding fucking lad, what most lads should be like at that age, instead of going out and doing whatever, knocking around the streets, causing aggro, that young man was in university trying to make the most of his life when his life was cut short by Digwa. And then we all know what happened, because I told you on the videos previously about the phone calls and trying to say that they'd been attacked. And that's why, when it all came out, he's getting fucking griefed because of what he done. And he didn't even try to help Henry afterwards. He tried to blame him and try to make out that it was a racist attack. And the fucking copper, the dirty wrong'un, said, I don't think so, mate. Poor Henry, his life, his eyes, never mind the look on Digwa's eyes, the look on poor Henry's eyes when he was leaving this world, and that copper who was supposed to look after him done that to him. And that's why the case became so high profile, because unfortunately, if it wasn't for that copper doing that, this case wouldn't have been so high profile, because these types of murders are happening across the UK on a regular basis, more so in London. If you have a look at the statistics, the amount of people, lads, well, not just lads, but the amount of young lads, more so gang members, but there is a lot of innocent members of the public getting stabbed, shot, chopped. This is happening on a regular occurrence. And there's murders happening nearly every day And like I've said, more so in the London area. But because that copper done that, and it was all on body cam footage, that's why the case was so high profile. So, the copper actually done Henry, in a sick sort of way, a bit of justice, because it brought his killer to the public attention, and he's getting persecuted, and he's getting exactly what is happening. He's in the block receiving the most fucking torturous punishment by himself. Not the punishment of the system, the punishment that he's doing to himself, because he's put himself in the block, and he's now at risk of doing away with himself because his mammy is away inside of jail and he can't have any contact with her. So he is in a sorry old state inside of HMP Frankland, but he will eventually go on to the bacon wings because he's been on protection, and the screws will not, or the governors will not let him go on normal location. Even though, if it wasn't, like I say, because of being so high profile, killers like Digwa just go on to normal location because of these types of murders. He's not classed as a nonce, and only the nonces and bacons. But when you go and put yourself on protection, that's it. You're done for in the system. You're classed as a bacon. You can no longer go on normal location. Sometimes prisoners do end up going back on normal location who've had themselves put on protection because they get moved to another prison. But then when a prisoner who has been in that prison knows that he was on protection, when he gets to that prison and he's in the same prison with a certain person, they'll say, hold on a second, you were on the fucking numbers. You were on the bacon wings. And then their life becomes hell. They go back on the bacon wings. So I just mentioned there when they said you were on the numbers. This is another prison slang, because on the numbers means Rule 43, you get put on the numbers, which is the nonce wings, the bacon wings, and the numbers, that's what they call it. He's on the cucumbers, rhymes with numbers, it's just more prison slang. But there is quite a lot of different types of prison slang, and there is a lot of new subscribers and viewers on my channel saying, what's a bacon? Bacon, bonce, rhymes with nonce. A bacon comes under a few different terms. It's obviously a nonce, a chomo, a rapist, and a snitch who puts themselves down the block, or someone like Digwa who puts themselves on protection. He then gets classed as a bacon because he's on the bacon wings. So there is another thing that he's got to live with, getting classed as a bacon. But I just thought I would bring that to your attention, people, because a lot of people have been saying, can you give us some updates on what's happening with Digwa? And that is the updates. I've been informed that he's on an act. When he found out his mother, even though she was already in prison on remand, he thought she was getting out. He thought he was getting out. He's launched an appeal against conviction and sentence, which will not happen. His sentence will be getting upped because the attorney state has went and put in appealing, saying that his sentence was unduly lenient. So when the attorney, I think it's the Attorney General or whatever it is, who's put the higher up in authorities, who's put an appeal in to up the sentence, it's getting upped, believe you me. He got a minimum term of 21 years. It will be getting changed to maybe he's 25. It'll not be a 30, but 25 year, I do believe, 25 to 28 years. That's what his minimum term will be getting put into. But hopefully you are still enjoying the content, people. There's plenty more to come. I am on my travels, as you can see, but this time I've brought all my kits. I brought my laptop, my lights, my stands, my mics, me behind bars top. And yes, I will be keeping you updated on everything. And I have got another video which I was due to do tonight, but because I've just been informed about this and a few people have been asking, I thought I need to get this one done first. But stay tuned, because I'll be dropping a video tomorrow about a notorious bacon copper. Stay tuned, people. If you are still enjoying the content, remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. But most importantly, people, you know the drill. Stay safe.